Yeah, good Lord.
First one. Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to a fantastic edition of the Practice Gratitude Success Show. And first of all, I just want to say welcome to everybody who's here. Hey, Nicole, thank you so much for being here. Organic Chris, thank you for being here. J-Man, thanks so much. Well, I was going to say the host, our guest host name, but I'll introduce him in just a second. Hi, Christy. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today, and everybody that's here today. Thank you so much. People are popping in as we speak right now. But anyway, the person that's coming in today, and I think most people probably know him, although people on a replay maybe don't. So I could just give the short introduction, but I'm actually going to read. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. It's not real long, but it just pretty much describes him a little bit about in his own terms, his own words. Steve Krivda, who I've known since maybe what was it, 3 years ago or so. We went to the business building. I think it was the first or second one they had that Adam and Justice had a business builder program, a 100-day business builder program. We went through that thing together, and he actually won. He won the challenge. They have a thing where they actually, they give these awards at the end, and he actually won it. So it was really cool. He did a lot of work. He's an awesome guy, but he's a husband and daddy of 2. His wife is named Danielle, and she is his best friend. He married his best friend, which is awesome. That is so cool. But his sons are Andrew and Tyler, that he was committed to for his success. But he came into the industry back in 2006. He had some success, nothing substantial. He made a couple $100 here and there, and he said he calls that stage his sleeping stage of his career. And like most people, he came into network marketing to make an extra few bucks. And that with that mindset, that's exactly what happened. He made a few extra bucks. And then he decided to take it serious, start learning as much as I could. That might be when he went into the business builder channels. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyways, he said he thought that he was here for the sole reason of making money, spending more time and traveling more with his family. Then he soon realized that there was something bigger. He wanted to create a legacy for his 2 boys and putting his family in a place where we can live our lives. Creating a residual income not only serves me, meaning him, but also puts my family in a position of financial security, safety, if anything were ever to happen to him. Now, through my family this isn't his words. Though my family is incredibly important, I realized that I was thinking small, that my mission here is bigger than my immediate circle of influence. With the aid of some great coaches in my life, I'm able to start impacting and inspiring others to live a dream that may have only existed while they were asleep. Committing myself to helping others succeed has become my main mission in our industry. I removed myself from the equation, and I found out what was money and freedom comes by helping others get closer to their goals. Having my own business has put me in a position to see that there is a realm of possibilities even bigger than what I had imagined. That this dream of success is not a dream, but a reality. A place that is obtainable for anyone who is willing to put in the time and work. I love that word work. We have to do that. I like the word play too. But on February 27, 2015, this was just last year, he was able to walk away from his job and come into this industry full time. So congratulations, Steve, and thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you being here. And you're such an awesome guy, and everybody that I know who knows you has a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for you because of your authenticity. And so just welcome for being here.
Oh man, this is so awesome. Oh, there's a little bit of an echo.
If there's an echo, I'll mute mine because that's probably on my end. If that happens, I'll mute mine. I'll ask you a couple of questions. I'll mute, I'll unmute. But first, I want to ask you about the painting behind you. That stuff that you got going on.
Yeah. We started getting into that. I'm gonna take one of my headphones out. So, where are we here? This one here and this one here. Danielle made these in succession between 2 different painting classes she was in, and I wanted them in here. And the little ones in the middle here, those actually that's Danielle again, but these are the boys, the 3 little ones. But what's really cool is, when we were going through, and I can't remember if it was the 100-day business challenge or Run of Ray's courses, but it doesn't really matter, honestly. You know how we create affirmations for ourselves? Well, I had them on little sheets of paper, just written out, because I wanted to make sure that I had very intense emotional attachment to these pieces of paper. Well, I went away to one of our events and I came home And Danielle made all of these. I mean, she's such an amazing person. I mean, here's one of them. She took on her phone, she created this meme out of it, and she got them embossed. She printed them out in picture, put them on these wooden frames, and hung them up all over my office. So I have my affirmations everywhere. She's just
That's awesome. That is so cool. That is so awesome.
She's something else.
That is, I mean, how important is it to have somebody, a partner, a wife that is committed to you, that's behind you like that? How important is that?
Oh, for me, it's everything. But and I don't know if you want to get into this now. We can later, but it wasn't always like that.
Okay.
But it makes it that much more important. And I don't mind. I'm pretty authentic and I'm transparent. You can ask me whatever you want. But yeah, it wasn't always this amazing. She's a freaking rock star.
Well, yeah, tell us about your whole, because I know you said you started in 2006 and you were just like kind of like going through it. You had a little bit of success. I mean, you're a pretty sharp guy. So tell us about the early times, and then what happened, what got you in, and what brought your wife, what got her to believe in you?
Pretty sharp. I was the dullest knife in the drawer. It's funny. 06, I came in just because my buddies were doing it, to be honest with you. We had just gotten married for a couple of years, and all of our married friends were doing this juice thing. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever, man. I don't really care. We had a whole bunch of money coming in. We were making a lot of money in the construction industry. I'm like, whatever. We'll throw money at things, and we'll join this thing, and we'll hang out with all of our friends, and we'll have parties and have fun. Well, the funny thing is we started making money with it, and I'm like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is actually working. So we went through that phase, and the company's no longer around, so I don't really, what I say here about the company doesn't matter. Right. But I didn't like a lot of things that they were doing. I didn't like a lot. The people that were in it were very snooty, and kind of, you needed to be part of our club to have a conversation. It was really kind of weird, and I didn't like it. However, but as you all know, once you're in the industry, man, there's just no looking back. You're in it. So I bounced around all over the place like a lot of people. I think I was like 12 plus different companies. And that's where Danielle kind of was like, this isn't doing, this is crazy. We're just throwing money at it. And then when the economy dipped, I'm still throwing money at stuff. And because, well, obviously, if we don't work it, it wasn't putting in the time. So basically, it was just like this big bleed that was happening in our account. So I don't know how detailed you want to get. I can get further into it if you want to, but it's how did she start believing in me? She could see the passion that I had.
What turned it around? What brought her into, hey, I think this is going to work?
Yeah. I had to beg her to come back in the industry back in 2010. I'm like, I tell you what, you give me like 6 or 7. We had just had Andrew was 1 year old. Andrew was 1, our oldest, and we had number 2 on his way. Right? If you could just, man, I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Andrew was really little. And that was, we almost cruised through the economy dipping the way it did, but all of a sudden the work stopped. So nothing was coming in. So it was very scary. And I'm like, I'll tell you what, give me one more shot. Like, let me run at this. Cause I had taken a hiatus, and I was watching all of my friends continue to have a great time in this industry. And I said, give me one more shot. And she's like, fine, I'm not helping you. I'm like, no problem. I'm like, I got this. So I get excited. I go in, and I started calling people and just going to work and just making things happen. And I got a check and she's like, holy crap, I can't believe it. It's working again. And I said, yeah. And she's like, it's, it wasn't the money that turned her around, because there was more, for like most people at that point in time, there was more going out than there was coming in. So right. It was people saying, posting things here and there saying, hey, our conversation that we had last night or yesterday or whatever really changed the way I am, or changed the way I think, or something like that. It was something dramatic that started shifting. And it wasn't the money part of it, but what shifted was how people were reacting to our conversations. And I think a few people, and I don't know what y'all's religious affiliation is, and this is not meant to be offensive, but I'm a Christian and I'm very happy with where I am. And I had a person that had shifted away from that belief because of some crazy stuff that happened in her church. And we started having conversations, and she started going to church again. And I'm like, she comes into my office and I'm in tears, and she's like, what's going on? I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh. I said, I know what my calling is now. And she says, okay. And then that's when the shift started happening. We still weren't making any money, but that's when the shift started happening. And she saw the passion that I had. I started sharing a vision that I wanted for our family. I started sharing everything that was going on, my pains, my struggles, my wins, my losses. And I brought her into everything that I did. And that's when things started shifting.
You started to develop the belief in yourself.
Yeah, the belief was kind of there, not so much though. I just kept pushing, just in spite of my own beliefs. Oh, I think you muted yourself.
There we go. Okay, yeah. What year was it? What year was it that we were in the Business Builder Challenge? Was that 2013 or was it 14?
Yep.
13.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun challenge. Long challenge. That was a pretty long one, but you were cranking them, man. You were cranking those things out. It's all your content. And was that what kind of turned you around? Do you think? Do you give a lot of credit to that?
It's funny. That was a $700 buy-in, right? That's what it was at the time. I don't know what it is now. It's not that high.
I forget.
And the reason I bring up the price point is because that was the most I had ever spent in one training for myself. And so I didn't give myself a choice to go. But yeah, it was when I first became consistent with everything, and I started seeing some massive results really fast. And I was like, man, this is fine. Everything everybody was saying is true. And we just kept pushing. And that was the shift. In fact, it was 2013, toward the end of the year, is when we had some deep conversations in this house of what was going to happen in 2014.
Now, what kind of work were you doing? You said you just got stopped doing what you were doing just last year. What kind of work were you doing outside of this industry?
Concrete and masonry. I was an estimator. I was not the field guy. Those guys are way tougher than me. I was there for about 11 years, and I was basically, it was three of us that were running the office. It was Danielle and myself.
Yeah, yeah. I did a lot of that kind of work. The grunt work, so I know what that is. That's especially where you are down in Florida. That's some hard work. It's hot.
Yeah, crazy hot. That's why I stayed in the office.
with the air conditioning, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So now, during these early days, did beliefs, because so many people when they get into this industry. I mean, we listen to a lot of people who are always inspiring us, empowering us, and telling us to hang in or keep going. But until people start seeing a little bit of success, it's really kind of hard, because they believe other people have done it, but they kind of need to taste themselves, don't they, to really have that belief.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's some things that I've been coming to. This has been in April? This is in the last 6 or 7, maybe 8 months. I have come to a very harsh, intense realization. And oh, hey Ray, what's up? I didn't see you coming, buddy. I was seeing who was on here, because and you guys all get this. What I'm about to say is, when we don't believe in ourselves, it really doesn't have anything to do with whether or not we can believe we can succeed. It has to do with, how can I say this nicely? Because I'm rough with myself, so I have to choose my words when I'm speaking with other people. We feed ourselves reasons as to not to push as hard as we can. When we have, I'll show you this side. When we have our list of people that we're going to call and talk to, we, as long as that list is there, we still have this back hope of, well, if I just pushed really hard, I can make it. You know, so we always kind of leave things hanging. And I believe that as we're not, and we don't see everything, the belief starts. Because I'll tell you, there are people in this industry that I've spoken to and I'm very good friends with that said, you know what, it wasn't whether or not I believed myself, I just did what I was told to do. Right. And I'm like, well, didn't you ever have any hang-ups? And they said no. And I'm like, well, what did you do when the results weren't happening? They're like, I just kept going. I don't understand the question. So like, so when I speak with people like that and I look at myself, you know, here's a funny thing, you know, I compare it with a job. All of us have a job mentality. I don't care how long you've been an entrepreneur. Unless you've never had a job, we have that embedded in us. You know, my first job was 14 years old. So, you know, we're used to going to work and producing a certain amount of work and getting paid for it. So when we come into this industry, especially at 40 something years old, and all of a sudden we're like, awesome, now what the hell am I going to do? I'm home by myself. Now what do I do here? So it's, you know, we don't have somebody cracking the whip on us. We have no work. We don't get paid. If we get, you know, if we do work, we do get paid. You know, the funny thing is how all of that comes together is we don't have a set schedule. So there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow to call this list. There's always tomorrow to do that blog or call the person or call my leads. There's always tomorrow. So I'm okay. You know, imagine if we took all the always tomorrow stuff and done it when it was supposed to be due, there wouldn't be anybody on this call right now. They wouldn't be surpassing, you know, 6-7 figures and impacting people all over the earth. So I don't remember how we kind of got there. I think we were talking about belief. You know, it's, you know, when we look at belief and how we are with each other and ourselves, I think if when that belief issue comes up, it's typically thing here, but it's something I tell myself all the time when I'm sitting there and I'm kind of getting shaken up and I'm frustrated. I'm like, all right, so what have I done over the last 3 days? I'm like, oh, well, yeah, okay, well, that makes sense. I haven't done anything. Right. You know, I spent, you know, the last week with the kids instead of actually putting in the work. There's no wonder there's no results. So there's really no lack of belief because it's just a system.
It's pretty black and white. If you do the work, you got to. It's like it's sowing and reaping. It's like sowing and reaping. So yeah, you can believe all the crops are going to grow, but if you don't put those seeds down, they're not going to grow. You have to put.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I have blamed excuse, lied to myself, call it, of, you know, people in my life telling me that I'm a scammer, I'm a cheat, people that are very close to me that are like related, like blood related, and still tell me that I'm a cheat, I'm a scammer, and I'm stealing money from people. And I'm like, man, that's, wow, have we met? I'm like, I don't know. It's, you know, it's, so that stuff is rough to hear, but it has nothing to do with you. Right. And that's what was hard for me to get. I'm like, man, this has nothing to do with me. I'm like, I know who I am. Why should I let somebody else's opinion, no matter how close we ever were, how can I ever let somebody else's opinion deter me from what I believe in? That's to me, it drives me insane when I start letting those thoughts come in. So when I hear it from somebody else, it hurts my heart to listen. So it's, yeah, belief is rough.
That's huge.
But it has nothing to do with.
Exactly. It's their fears. It's the fears that they have within themselves. And that's the reason why they're projecting that onto you. There's just so much. There's so much misinformation that's out there. What do you like best? What do you really like best about this industry? About what you're doing right now? What's your favorite part of it?
Man, how can I narrow that down? In case you haven't figured out, I'm long-winded. My favorite part, I gotta say, the community here. You know, getting paid for something is great, but like if you don't like what you're doing, it sucks. It's like a job. But like, man, I'm I'm not friends with I'm not friends with anybody I used to be friends with. Like everybody, all my friends now are in this industry, all of them, every single one of them, in one form or another. Like all my best friends in the world I know are here, and it's amazing. You know, it's yeah, it's crazy. You
I
know,
love it. Yeah, you can choose who you can hang around with. It gives you that kind of freedom, doesn't it?
yeah. I mean, you know what's cool is I'm looking through this feed here, and like those hearts for and roses and smiley faces and
That's
it's just it's like a whole bunch of happy people, no matter where they are, what they're dealing with, they're always happy for other people. And isn't that amazing? Like where the hell does that happen besides network marketing? Like that's why it drives me so crazy. I'm like, everybody should be in this somehow, somewhere.
It rubs off on you. It just kind of rubs off on you. You know what's really cool, Steve? You know, every so often I'll hear somebody say, "Yeah, all of that negative stuff on Facebook and stuff," and I say, "What? Where? I don't see any negative stuff on Facebook. I don't. I swear to God, I do not see it. The only people I would see are the people here. The other people, I mean, they're just amazing people. And if they're not in network marketing, they're angels, or there's something that's like, you know, love or God driven. They're just good people. They're not. I don't see the complainers anymore. I used to,
right?
Not anymore. I guess they're still out there, but I don't know.
I guess. It's crazy.
Hey, let me ask you about coaching. You mentioned that you got a mentor, you got a coach. How important is that to you, to your development, having somebody as a coach?
It's huge. Let's see. It was mid to early 2014. I actually hired Ray Higdon for the year, which was, that was scary. I'll tell you, huh?
You must have got him at a discount too, huh? Back then.
No. I mean, yeah, compared to now, yeah, of course. It was the year before the increases, but it was still like, holy crap. Yeah, that was something else. And it was funny because, talking about belief, I was sitting at Top Runner Academy 2, and I was sitting there, and before I left, I told Danielle, I'm like, look, he's going to offer coaching. I'm probably going to get it depending on how much it costs. And she's like, all right, yeah, sounds good. And so I remember sitting there. I remember looking at the number shines up on this huge screen. And I'm like, holy crap. So I'm like, I'm holding my phone and I'm shaking, and I'm like, the number popped up, and she's like, how much was it? And I go, it was this. And she's like, her response was okay. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean I should be jumping in my car and coming home, or what are we doing here? And she's like, well, why wouldn't you do it? And where's your belief issue? And I was like, holy crap. So yeah, so I'm walking to the back with my credit card in my hand and going, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but here's my card. And it's funny because people talk about coaching all the time, and you guys know who Ray Higdon is, and the guy's full of value. I mean, he knows his sense of marketing in every form is just crazy awesome. But regardless of what I learned in that 12-month period, it was the decision of going for that which changed things.
Yes.
Because I, at that point in time, said, by taking my card and handing it over to somebody, I'm worth this. And that was probably the biggest thing. I mean, I've learned a ton, but that right there with the thing was, feeling as if you're worth, because how many times have people choked at $97,000 or $300? I was that guy. It's crazy to think what's happening. You know what I mean?
You committed to yourself, Steve, is what you did right there.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, because if you don't commit to yourself, it's so easy to stop and go in a different direction, isn't it? If you don't make that commitment to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try that.
Right. Yep.
That's what happens to people. Then they're in 12 different things. Then that's when the whole overwhelm process comes in, because you're doing so many different things. Your energy is not focus on one thing, like Jackson talked about this morning in a call. We do a morning call with Doug Fireball, and Jackson Kelly did it today, and he's talking about being a Marine. The first thing you have to do to overcome this overwhelm is to see your target, identify your target, and then bam, go after that one target. You're not shooting all over the place. You're shooting at that one target. Do that one thing. Focus on that one thing at a time. Get that done. Celebrate that little victory, and now you can look at the next target.
Right.
That sounds pretty cool. Were you ever in the military at all, Steve?
I wasn't. I almost went in the military. I actually was kind of overweight at the time, so I went to the gym to get in shape so I can actually go to boot camp because I was terrified. I was like, these guys are gonna kill me, and I had a guy walk up behind me. And this is kind of like when I start thinking of if you look back in the last 20 or 30 years of your life and you think about the things that have happened, you're gonna go, whoa, you know what, man, that happened for all this kind of stuff lines up. And I felt this force, and this is the first like feeling of a person behind you. He was 4 or 5 inches shorter than me, and bigger than hell though. And he was actually my future karate instructor. He asked me why I was there. I told him I was there, and he says, why don't we have a conversation? And the next thing I know, I'm running his school and teaching full time. And so thank God, I love the military. Our military people are awesome. I don't know. I for sure would not have gone this path if I would have went in the military, only because I have a kind of an addictive personality, and I know I never would have left. I would have been a lifer in the military. I know I would have.
And everything happens for a reason. Anyways, I love everything that I've gone through, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have like the grandchildren I have right now. You wouldn't have your children. If you made one change, one little shift, you probably wouldn't be married to Danielle. And if you weren't,
oh no,
you wouldn't have your 2 little boys. So that's why I have no regrets at all. It's always, whenever I look back and I see it's something maybe I could have done something to improve my life. No, everything's perfect the way it is right now. Everything's led up to this point. So it's all in God's plan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I had somebody ask me not too long ago. They said, maybe a little. No, geez, maybe it's been over a year now. They said, if you had a time machine, what would you go back and change? And at that point in time, I was like, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. So I thought about it for a long time. I'm like, I wouldn't change anything. And they're like, you wouldn't go back, because my mom passed pretty suddenly. And she's like, wouldn't you go back and change that scenario? And I'm like, as much as I would love to have her here with me, I wouldn't have what I have to show her. So I don't know. I wouldn't change a thing, because I wouldn't have met Danielle. And like you were saying, I wouldn't have my boys. We wouldn't be having this conversation. In fact, up until that point in my life, as happy as I thought I was going down a pretty rough path. And was kind of you guys don't know me then, man. Thank God. I was probably one of the biggest a-holes you didn't want to meet. I was arrogant and cocky and a jerk.
That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe, because everybody that I know that knows you, they when we say your word, they say your name. Everybody goes, oh yeah. It's like people have just glowing thoughts about you.
Thanks, man.
They do, because you just have this whole authenticity thing around you. You're a man of faith, family man. People respect you, and that's cool. If you could have people respect you, what else is there in life other than they respect you for a reason? You're awesome. You're an awesome guy, and that's so cool. Hey, before we get out of here, because we're up at the half-hour mark. Who are you grateful for? Your biggest people that you're grateful for in your life?
Obviously I'm kind of partial to God. No, obviously, this is it is a new faith for the last, very powerful. But the most, I'll tell you, you're kind of a stinker, man. You can't be getting me emotional on these things. If it wasn't for Danielle, I don't think I'd be here. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't have made it. Yeah, I know for sure. There's other people in my life. There's my wife, of course, Danielle. She's amazing.
You're
And my
blessed.
boys. And you almost got me, dude. You almost got me. And I'll tell you, I know that a lot of people give props to Ray Higdon. I give him props because of what he's done for me personally. The personal conversations I've had with him. Him and I are really good friends.
Right.
And he saved my marriage at one point. So yeah, it's kind of tough. I don't know, Ray. I don't believe it. It's hard for me to think about, to be honest with you. I ask constantly, what did I do?
The question,
I have no idea.
Question is, how did you get so blessed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
because of the person you are, the person that you have become.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
You are abundantly blessed. You have a lot of goodwill built up into that bank account. That's how you get so blessed. When you put money into that account, not talking about money, I'm talking about your blessings. When you give, then it's just like a bank account that grows, and that's why you get the blessings that you're getting, because you've given into it. You're that kind of a person. That's why people respect. That's why you get all those hearts, coffee cups, and all the other little things that are set up there. You know, people respect you, and that's huge, Steve. That's so huge. So I really appreciate you coming here today. Is there before we go, is there anything that you want to say, like closing words, and then let people know how to get a hold of you? SteveKrivda.com, right? That's the best way.
That's the best way. Yeah.
I will make sure when I put the replay, I'll put that in there so people can always get in touch with you. But is there anything that you want to close with? Any closing messages or anything like that you want to leave with the people who are here?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest struggles that I've had in the past was letting outside forces interfere with what my mission is here on Earth. And y'all have a mission, whether you know it or not. I don't know if it's comes, like when you say what's my mission, it comes clear, or sometimes it doesn't come clear, and it shifts all the time. Don't let people stop you from that, because it's not their mission, it's yours. It's when people give us crap and say that we're not worth that because of who we used to be. When somebody tells you that you're not this person because I knew you before, that has nothing to do with our ability to change. It's their ability in themselves to be able to change.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I had a hard time with. So y'all are when we have longer time, I'll tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying right now. If I can get where I am, literally anybody can. Like anybody can. And like I'm watching some of my people pass me up. Freaking crazy cool, right? So cool. Like anybody's possible. Anything is possible for anybody. I've seen that too many times. So like when people say, I don't know if I can do it, that's just a cop out to put in the time and put in the work, man. Anything is possible, man. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I think so many people have the same feeling about themselves. A lot of people don't feel good. They don't feel like they're good enough. That's just kind of a common thing that's out there. Kind of thing. Hey, Steve, would you be willing to come back again? And because we did barely kind of scratch the surface, but it'd be great if we could get into some more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, we'll talk after, and then we'll set up a time. And I think people would really appreciate you coming back and sharing some more stuff.
Absolutely. This has been cool. You guys I'm pointing at the chat, by the way. You guys are freaking awesome.
I know
You're distracting me. I'm like,
I'm over there looking at them too. They put some amazing comments, and it's just so cool. This what you mentioned before about the community. We're involved in this whole community, and it's amazing. The people. You can't get down. You can't stay down. If you do, you probably wouldn't want to be around these people, because you feel foolish, you feel silly, because everybody's so positive all the time. You come from God, you come from love, and that's the other thing too. Like you mentioned, I hope I don't offend anybody. And I'm the one I don't ever want to give you advice, but don't ever worry about ever offending anybody with saying that you're coming from God, because if they are, then you don't really want them around you anyways.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, I'm respectful for everybody, their beliefs and stuff like that. But if somebody's ever going, I'm not offended by somebody's religion at all. But you know,
Yeah.
when you have God, you have love in your heart.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that because a lot of us human beings have screwed that up.
That's true. That is true. But God is just love, anyways. That's all it is.
You're right.
Yeah. So
He's the definition.
exactly. There's only I posted. In fact, I posted that this morning. There's really only two fears. There's love and there's fear. I mean, two emotions: love and fear. It's our choice. Which one do you want to go to? You know?
Yeah, man.
So that's it. Hey, I know I said this a number of times before we go, but I know Len Mooney. He has lunch with Len on Thursdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11:30 today. I don't know who his guest is. Maybe he could type that in there. But if you go to lunch with Len, it's on every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 Pacific time. So that would be 2:30 Eastern time. So get a chance, go and check out lunch with Len. And so yeah, Steve. Well, let's talk afterward, and we'll set up another time because I would love to have you back on here because I know you got a lot of cool things to share.
Oh man, I'd be totally grateful for that. Thanks, man. This has been cool. When you asked me, like, I don't take this stuff lightly. I actually get nervous before it starts because I want to make sure that anybody that's ever done this for me, they're always like, "Do you want me to send you the questions first?" I'm like, "Nope, I don't want to know." I'm like, just do it. And
yeah, I knew that coming in. I knew we weren't going to need to have questions. Yeah, with you.
Yeah, no, I take this serious, and I really appreciate the time, Bob, and the fact that I'm grateful that you asked me, and this has been an honor being here, and I can't believe how fast the time went by. So I just appreciate you guys, appreciate everybody being on here. It's been it's been awesome. Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, I know the time does go by real fast, doesn't it? It goes by super fast. Cool. Okay, listen. Let's talk after, and we'll set up another time. Because I would love to have you back, Steve. This would be so cool.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay.
Man.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks everybody for being here today. We'll talk to you later. Oh, before. Like the fourth time I said this. Before I go tomorrow, I have somebody on here. She's a relationship expert. I just met her recently. Her name is Susan J. D'Amico, and she's going to be on here tomorrow. She's going to talk about how to improve relationships. So it's really interesting. I don't really know much about her other than that she's a relationship expert. So, you know, it might be a good idea for people like anybody. You know, be a good idea for anybody, whether you're in a relationship or you're looking to be into one at some point. So check that out tomorrow. And all the shows you can register. Just go to gratitudetv.com/show. That's real easy to remember. Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. See you on Lunch with Len later on today. Thanks, Steve. Talk to you later, everybody.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See ya.